When America said everyone is entitled to 12 years of free public education, universal, a century ago, it gave us the best educated, best prepared workforce in the world. That was one of the reasons why America began to grow so rapidly. It's a big part of why we led the world the bulk of the 20th century. But guess what? If we're going to put together a committee today, like they did in 1898, I think it was, and we were going to invent a public education system, there's any chance we'd say that we thought 12 years was enough in the 21st century? Just 12 years? I don't think so. Study after study shows that the earlier our children begin to learn in school, not daycare, the better, for themselves, for their families, no matter what the background they come from, no matter what their background. Recent university studies point out that they're increased by 56% the chance for them to get all the way through 12 years of school without getting in trouble. It's a gigantic deal. It doesn't matter whether mom or dad know how to read or write, or the home is a home that is challenging. But right now we're lagging behind, while other countries are investing in their children. Today, only about half of 3- and 4-year-olds in America are enrolled in early childhood education. In Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Latvia, that number is more than 90%. 90% of their 3- and 4-year-olds. We're falling further and further behind the curve. It's not just early education. According to one study, we rank 33 out of 44 advanced economies when it comes to the percentage of our young people who have attained a post-high school degree. Anything after high school. We're at the bottom of the heap. I'll bet if I was on a quiz, you're on one of these quiz shows, I ask you that, you would have said maybe we're 2 or 3 or 4. It's ridiculous. My Build Back Better plan gets us back on track. We'll make 4 additional years of public education available to every person in America. 2 years of high-quality preschool at the front end, and investments in community colleges so our students can gain skills they need to carve out a place for themselves in the 21st century economy. And also increase Pell Grants. They're grants for kids making families less than 50 grand, helping them get through community college or a historically backed colleges in order to be able to get a shot so they can live, they can eat while they're going to school. And we'll invest in historically black colleges and universities, which are an essential asset to help to support and to make sure that young people of every background and circumstance have a shot at good paying jobs. Look, this bill also invests in our workforce by providing so much needed breathing room for working families. After all, how can we compete in the world if millions of American parents, especially moms, can't join the workforce because they can't afford the cost of child care or elder care and have to stay home? For example, here in Michigan, the average 2-parent family spends $10,400 on child care costs for just one child each year. 30 years ago, the United States ranked sixth among advanced economies in the share of women in the workforce. You know where we are today? 23. 22 countries have a higher percentage of their women in the workforce making a competitive wage than the United States. While our competitors are investing in the care economy, we're standing still. And the fact is, millions of American parents are feeling the squeeze, having a hard time doing their job, earning a paycheck while taking care of their children or aging parents, and at the same time in this sandwich generation. My Build Back Better plan is going to change that. It's going to cut the cost of child care for most mid-Michigan families by more than half. It's going to extend historic middle-class tax cut to the child care tax credit, which we passed in my American Rescue Plan. Now, most people don't know. If you walk to the average informed person, doctor, lawyer, or whatever, and said child care tax credit, they're not sure what that means. Well, what it means is, you know, if you were making a decent salary and you had 2 kids or 3 kids or 4 under the age of 18, you get to deduct $2,000 for each child off your bottom line of your taxes you owe. Well, guess what? If you're making $15 an hour, you don't have any taxes to pay like that. So guess what? You got nothing. Zero. No help. My friends in the other team have no problem giving billionaires and millionaires gigantic tax breaks. This is a tax cut. You know, what it does is, now, and it's in place, and people in your state are understanding it now, instead of it provides it up the ante how much you could get for a child under 7, you get $3,600 tax cut on a yearly basis. And you get $3,000 for a child under 17. But guess what we did? That means we're doing it on a monthly basis now. It means you're getting either $300 a month or $200 a month, just like your Social Security check at home. It's cut child poverty in by 40%. That money's already a life changer for so many working families. And as I said, I was wrong. In Michigan, it's 44% cut in child poverty. We need to keep it going. My plan is going to put Americans to work constructing and rehabilitating safe and affordable housing to help ease the cost of housing while generating even more jobs. In most of the major metropolitan areas in America, you can't afford the housing. And it helps to meet the moment on climate change as well. We're setting the course for America to achieve 50 to 52% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, for us to reach net zero emissions by 2050. This bill helps us get there in a way that creates good jobs, makes us global leaders of fast-growing clean energy industries like electric vehicles, solar and wind power, battery power. The bottom line is this: when we give working families a break, we're not just raising their quality of life, we're putting parents in a position to earn a paycheck. We're also positioning our country to compete in the world. That's what these bills are all about. If you want proof, just come to this training facility. This is where hard-working folks come to learn how to operate road graders and so much more. Where workers use virtual reality to master operating a crane. They learn how to deal with drones, to look underneath bridges and so on. Where young people in Michigan show up and emerge as expert technicians, engineers, heavy equipment operators. They leave here with a shot at something great, a union job with good wages and benefits that allow them to maintain their dignity and their pride. It's a ticket to the middle class. This is where the economy starts, with you, your skills, your dreams, and your limitless potential. The only thing we've been missing is the will from Washington to finally build an economy around you, an economy that gives you and your family a fighting chance to get ahead, gives our country a fighting chance to compete with the rest of the world. We can't get here thinking small. We have to think big. Let me be clear. We need to prepare for 10 years down the line. That's what these bills do. Both these bills spend out over 10 years, not in the first year. So if you take the infrastructure bill, folks, it's described as a $1.2 trillion bill. What that means is that of all those investments in road, bridges, high-speed internet, water, everything else, all of it would be less than 0.5% of our economy each year. And it's all paid for. And they don't increase the debt because they're paid for by asking the very wealthy to begin their pay their fair share. As a matter of fact, a significant portion of this plan cuts taxes for working people. And best of all, the cost of these bills in terms of adding to the deficit is zero. 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 And I made a commitment when I wrote these when I was running. No one making under $400,000 a year will see a penny in their taxes go up. That's why in the infrastructure bill, there is no gas tax increase, because people making under 400 would have to pay more. It's simple. You're working here at this facility, your spouse is a teacher or a firefighter. There's no reason why, combined, why millionaires and billionaires in this country should be paying at a lower tax rate than you do. Hear me again now. A lower tax rate. A police officer, a teacher, a union crane operator, and a nurse, they paid a higher tax rate. A higher tax rate. A significant portion of the major corporations in America and the super wealthy. Look, it isn't right. Isn't it right that 55 of the largest corporations in America in this country, and I come from the corporate capital of the world, More people, more corporations are incorporated in the state of Delaware than every other state combined. But you know how much those 55 companies, I could go on more than that, they made over $40 billion and they paid zero in federal income tax. Since the pandemic began, the number of billionaires, and I forget the exact number there are in America, have seen their wealth go up collectively by $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Isn't fair. It needs to change. Look, working folks understand that. That's why, despite the attacks and misinformation, my plan has overwhelming support in the polling data from the American people. They understand what's at stake. They understand that workers and families have a better shot. Americans have a better shot. I'm a capitalist. I think you should be able to go out and make $1 million or $1 billion, but just pay your fair share. Join the crowd, man. They know that this is about dignity and respect. It's about changing the paradigm so the economy works for you, not just for those at the very top. It's about building this economy from the bottom up and the middle out. That's what I've done my entire career. That's why I ran for president. As I said, I'm a capitalist. I think you should be able to make a lot of money in America, but just pay your fair share. Pay your fair share. I took this agenda to the country. They said it was time to build an economy that looks out from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I grew up as a kid, instead of looking down from Wall Street. An economy that looks out from Howell, Michigan, and towns like it all over America, that brings people from every race, background, religion into the game. That's what, and notwithstanding some of the signs that I saw come, that's why 81 million Americans voted for me. The largest number of votes in American history. A clear majority were supported when they supported me. Look, it's now time to deliver. Let me close with this. The world's watching, not a joke. The autocrats of the world believe the world is moving so rapidly that democracies can't generate consensus quickly enough to bring their people together to get things done. They think democracy is not a joke. In my meetings with Putin, in my meetings with Xi Jinping and other leaders, they truly believe that we can't compete in the 21st century because things are moving so fast. Democracies take so much time that they are so divided that they can't get together in time to act. They believe they believe they'll win the day, and they can dictate their way forward and leave us behind. They're betting, not a joke. They're betting for the first time we won't respond to this inflection point in history, that we'll fail to rise to the occasion. But you've heard me say it a lot of times. It's never, ever been a good bet to bet against the American people. Never. Look, just look back a little ways. After World War II, the United States did what we're trying to do now. Invested in the American people to lead the world. At the time, presidents and Congress of both parties and Americans of all political views stepped up. I'm not being sentimental here. There was racial discrimination was a fact of life. We know how deep-rooted racism is in this country. We saw the Klan marching here in Howell generations ago, and again in recent years. It's a never-ending battle, but think about what also unfolded in these critical decades. Great protest movement. Some of the nation fulfilled its promise of equity. The GI Bill sent millions of veterans to college. The federal government helped make home ownership possible because it's the vehicle by which people can generate wealth. Most of us who come from lower and middle class backgrounds, that's how our parents are able to generate any wealth, the investments in our home. For those who could previously only dream of having a house to call their own. We invested in the interstate highway system, propelling our economy into the future. We invested in the space race, which led to huge strides in technology. We invested in something called DARPA, a program within the federal government that helped create the internet. Folks, we need to step up again. But the challenge of today is one of economic competition. Let's learn from that history. Not because it was perfect, because Americans then did what we must do now. Invest in ourselves to show the world that American democracy works. And they're given half a chance. There's nothing, not a single thing, we can't achieve when we do it together. I know we can do this. I'm positive we can. I've never been more optimistic about this country than I am right now. We're going to restore faith, pride, and dignity, the future of this country. And we're going to pass both of these bills and start building this economy to beat the competition and deliver for working families. Thank you. May God bless you. May God protect our troops. Let's get this done. Thank you. Thank you.